Hello students, welcome to Power Classes. So today we are going to discuss about each trigonometric equation in other forms, that is sine theta in terms of all others, that is cos, tan, secant, cot and cosecant. The same way for cos for in all other five forms, tan in all other five forms, secant as well as cot as well as cosecant. So this is required to solve any other equations if the triangle, any angle is not mentioned. If angle is mentioned, then the best way is to just mark the right angle triangle, mark the angle which is mentioned. Suppose this is theta they have mentioned, and they have mentioned at least tan theta for, suppose they have mentioned 3/4, then tan theta is opposite side by adjacent side 3/4, and using Pythagoras theorem you can find out that 5 will be the hypotenuse, and from here you can find all other angles, that is tan, cos or anything. Whereas if they didn't mention any angle and they want you to define from your side like how the sine theta will be in terms of cos or how the sine theta will be in terms of tan, such kind of all type of questions can be solved if we reverse this in this video. So I will just explain, but before that I just want you to remember three identities of trigonometry. That is, the first one is cos square theta, that is plus sine square theta equal to 1 plus tan square A equal to secant square A, 1 plus cot square A equal to cosecant square A. So using these three, we are going to define all the five types for each trigonometric. At the same time, you have to remember this as well, that is tan A will be sin A by cos A, cosecant A it is inverse of sine, whereas secant is inverse of cos, whereas cot is inverse of tan. So using these three and these equations, we are going to define for each trigonometric equation. Okay, so let's move with the first one, that is sine A in all forms. Okay, if in the question I have mentioned only one or two forms, you can only do this part, but here I am going to explain for each and every form so that this can be useful for your entire exam. Okay, so let's see for how we are going to define sine in terms of cos first. So I have mentioned 1, 2 and 3 in all the identities, but the 1, 2 and 3 I have already mentioned here. So just remember these three whenever I am mentioning about 1, 2 or 3. Okay, so I am using the first equation, that is sine square A plus cos square equal to 1. So moving cos square to the right side, sine square equal to 1 minus cos square A. The square will become root on other side, sine A will become root of 1 minus cos square A. So in this way I have found out sine A in terms of cos A. Now the second one, that is in terms of tan A. So using 3 here, what is 3? 1 plus cot square equal to cosecant square. Why I am using this? Because I know that cosecant A is equal to 1 by sine A. So if I use and cot A equal to 1 by tan A. So just replacing here, then I can get a relation between sine and tan. Okay. So let's using 3 here. 1 plus cot square equal to cosecant square A. Cot A, I know it is 1 by tan A. So 1 plus 1 by tan square equal to cosecant square, it is 1 by sin square A. Next 1 by tan square sin square A. What I want in terms of sine A in terms of tan square A. So I'm just using LCM here. So tan square A into 1 plus tan square A plus 1 by tan square equal to 1 by sin square A. And again just cross multiply, sin square A equal to tan square A by 1 plus tan square A. Then sin A will become root of tan square A by 1 plus tan square A. Then sin A is equal to tan square will be cut off. So sin equal to tan A by 1 plus tan square A. Okay, so cos and tan are done. The next I am going to cosecant. Cosecant is direct answer, that is sin A equal to 1 by cosecant A. Then you need to go for the secant. Secant, we already know that sin A equal to root of 1 minus cos square A from here. Okay, so but I already knew that cos A equal to 1 by secant A. So just changing here cos term in terms of secant. So root of 1 minus 1 by secant square A. Taking LCM, secant square A minus 1 by secant square A, square and root of denominator will be cancelled. So sin A equal to root of secant square A minus 1 by secant A. Next one is in terms of cot. So for tan I already defined. The same way, instead of tan place I am writing 1 by cot A. Okay, so for tan we already defined here. So just using the same equation here. That is tan A in terms of 1 by cot A, then tan A square A, I am changing it to 1 by 1 plus cot square A. So if I define here, it will get 1 by cot A, root of 1 plus cot square by cot A, so cot A will cancel. So last sin A will become root of 1 plus cot square A. Okay, So total sine A is root of 1 minus cos square A, secant square minus 1 by secant A, 1 by cosecant A, tan A by root of 1 plus tan square A, and the last one is 1 by root of 1 plus cot square A. Okay, so now see for cos A, how we are going to define for all forms. So again same method, the first cos and sine we have to use only the first equation. So sine square plus cos equal to 1, cos equal to root of 1 minus sin square A. So this is the first equation. The second, and now I'm using the same equation and just converting sine to cosecant. Sine to cosecant, how can convert sine A equal to 1 by cosecant A. So cos A equal to root of 1 minus 1 by cosecant square A. It's taking LCM here and again squaring and root are getting cancelled over. So finally the cos A will become root of cosecant square A minus 1 by cosecant A. Clear? Let's go to the next point, like how we are going to define for tan square A. For tan square A, I'm using two equations because here we know we have tan and we have secant. Secant is nothing but 1 by cos. So using this I can get a relation between tan square A and secant square A. So 1 plus tan square equal to 1 by cos square A. Taking cross multiplication, cos square equal to 1 by 1 plus tan square A. So cos equal to root of 1 plus tan square A. Now just changing tan to 1 by cot. So I can get directly for cot as well. So cos A will become cot A by root of cot square A plus 1. For secant, we already know directly that cos A is equal to inverse of secant, that is 1 by secant A. So all 5 are done. So cos A equal to root of 1 minus sin square A, root of cosecant square minus 1 by cosecant A, 1 by root of 1 plus tan square A, 1 by secant A, and last one is cot A by root of cot square A plus 1. You can find there will be some similarities between sine and cos. Here sine is 1 by root of 1 minus cos square A, whereas cos is 1 root of sin square A. Secant square minus 1 by secant A. Here cosecant A square minus 1 by cosecant A. 1 by cot square A, 1 by 1 plus cot square A. Here it is 1 by root of 1 plus tan square A. 1 by cosecant, here it is 1 by sine. And here it is tan A by root of 1 plus tan square A. Whereas for cos it is cot A by root of cot square A. You can simply say that if you have the equations of cos, you can also verify with respect of sine. Just replacing sine with cos, cosecant with secant, tan with cot. Just they will be opposite of those three. Okay, so in this way, sine can be converted into all other forms, whereas cos also can be converted into all other forms. Let's see for other four. Let's start with tan A first. Tan A in all other forms. So for tan A, I need to convert tan in terms of sine. So again, I am using the equation 3. As I mentioned, cosecant is inverse of sine, whereas cot inverse of tan. So using this, I can get a relation between those two. So cot A will become 1 by tan square A equal to cosecant square A will become 1 by sin square A. Now I want tan in terms of sine. So I am using 1 to the right side. So 1 by tan square will become 1 by sin square A minus 1. 1 by tan square A equal to 1 minus sin square LCM. Here 1 minus sin square A by sin square A. Then again taking inverse. So tan square will become sin square A by 1 minus sin square A. So finally tan A equal to sin A by root of 1 minus sin square A. So in this way I can define. The second is, I can simply say that for cosecant A, how I am defining. So sin A we already know. So simply I can use sin A here and changing it to 1 by cosecant. Then finally the answer will become tan A equal to 1 by cosecant A by root of 1 minus 1 by cosecant square A, which is equal to 1 by root of cosecant square A minus 1. Okay, so this how I got also I have clearly mentioned here, that is 1 by cosecant A. Here again taking LCM, root of cosecant square A minus 1 by cosecant square A. So cosecant and this will get cancelled. So final answer is 1 by root of cosecant square A minus 1. So 2 are done. Now I need to find for cos and secant as well as for cot. Cot we already know that tan theta equal to 1 by cot A. So this is the direct answer. Whereas for secant and cos we will define here. For secant we already know for using 2 1 plus tan square equal to secant square A. So this I can use here. So tan square equal to moving 1 to the right side, secant square A minus 1. So tan A will become root of secant square A minus 1. So just change secant to 1 by cos. So 1 by cos square a minus 1, 1 minus 1 cos square a by cos square a. So finally tan a equal to root of 1 minus cos square a by cos. So all 5 are tan a equal to sin a by root of 1 minus sin square a, root of 1 minus cos square a by cos a, 1 minus cosecant square a minus 1, root of secant square a minus 1, and 1 by cot a. The only logic in defining all these 5 is how we are going to use 3 identities. Okay, so the first, remember, sine and cos can be found only from this first equation. Tan, cot, and secant cos, these 4 relations can be solved using this equation, whereas cot, tan, and cosecant sine, if that relation is required, you have to go with third equation. Okay, let's move with the other one, that is cosecant A in all forms. Cosecant A equal to 1 by sine A, which we already know, and then we want cosecant in terms of cos A. So for that I am using this equation because cos A is present here and sine can be converted into cosecant. Okay, so this from here I am finding cosecant A in terms of sine A. So cos square A, sin square equal to 1 minus cos square A, sin square A taking inverse. So 1 by sin square equal to 1 by 1 minus cos square A. Cosecant square A, sin inverse is cosecant. So 1 by sin square can write as cosecant square A equal to 1 by 1 minus cos square A. So cosecant A equal to root of 1 by root of 1 minus cos square A. So sine, cosecant in terms of sine and cos are done. So simply I'm just changing cos to secant by taking inverse. So cosecant equal to 1 by 1 minus 1 by secant square A. So taking LCM and taking root over, the final answer will become cosecant A equal to secant A by root of secant square A minus 1. Okay, so let's move to the next topic. Now using 3 here to find, as I mentioned, for cot and cosecant we already have this, so I'm using this equation. So cosecant square A equal to 1 plus cot square A, so simply cosecant equal to root of 1 plus cot square A. So whereas I'm just changing cot to tan by taking inverse, so root of 1 plus 1 by tan square A, so cosecant equal to root of tan square A plus 1 by tan A. Why tan A? Because by denominator it will be tan square A, so root of tan square A will become tan A. So cosecant A equal to root of 1 plus tan square A by tan A. The final answers of cosecant are 1 by sin A, 1 by root of 1 minus cos square A, secant A by root of secant square A minus 1, root of 1 plus cot square A, and this is root of 1 plus tan square A by tan A. Let's go with the secant in all forms. So using 1 again, as I mentioned, for sine, cos and secant, this relation is really easy to compare. So sin square of cos square equal to 1, cos square equal to 1 minus sin square A, cos square A taking as inverse 1 by secant square A equal to 1 minus sin square A. So secant square A equal to 1 by 1 minus sin square A, and the final answer is root of 1 by root of 1 minus sin square A. So for secant here till sine is done, so let's see for others. So secant equal to 1 minus root of sin square I already have, so just changing sine to cosecant, that is 1 by cosecant, so root of 1 minus 1 by cosecant square A, the final answer will become cosecant A by root of cosecant square A minus 1. Now using 2, I am finding relation between secant and tan, because we already know 1 plus tan square equals secant square A, so directly secant A equal to root of 1 plus tan square A. Okay, now just change tan to cot by 1 by cot, and directly the secant A can be written as root of 1 plus cot square A by cot A. And 1 we already know, that is secant equal to 1 by cos. So the final answers are root of secant equal to 1 by root of 1 minus sin square A, 1 by cos A, 1 plus root of 1 plus tan square A, that is root of 1 plus cot square A by cot A. And the final cosecant is secant equal to cosecant A by root of cosecant square A minus 1. Here also if we compare, there is a relation between cosecant and secant. See here, just replace sine with cos, tan with cot, and secant with cosec. These two also will be related as we compared with sine and cos. Here you can see 1 by sine A, here it is 1 by cos A. 1 by root of 1 minus cos square A, 1 by root of 1 minus sin square A. Secant A by root of secant square A minus 1, cosecant A by root of cosecant square A minus 1. Root of 1 plus cot square A, root of 1 plus tan square A, root of 1 plus tan square A by tan A, root of 1 plus cot square A by cot A. So you can see that all secant and cosecant are related similar to the sine and cos. So if you remember, if you get at least one of these, then you can directly write the others as well. Secant, if you know, you can directly write for cosecant by simply replacing sine with cos, tan with cot, and cosecant with secant. If you don't have time, but if you have time, I suggest you to follow all the principles which I have followed here, so that the relation you will get full marks. But if you don't have time, and if you in exam, if you feel that every lesson I just want to have at least 1 mark or 2 marks for the final answer, then simply if you know the secant, you can directly replace with cosecant. The same way, if you know the first sine, you can directly replace for cos. Let's go with our last one, that is cot A in all forms. So next, first one I am using with 3 relation, that is root of 1 plus cot square equal to cosecant square A. Cot A will become, if you go 1 to the right side, it will minus 1, so root of cosecant square A minus 1. Just replace cosecant with 1 by sine. So cot A equal to root of 1 by sine square minus 1, and cot A will be simply root of 1 minus sine square A by sine. Next, I want relation between cot and secant. So cot and secant can be relation between these two, because tan can be converted into 1 by cot. So 1 plus tan square equal to secant square A I am using here. So tan square will become secant square A minus 1. By taking inverse, that is 1 by tan square will become cot square A equal to 1 by secant square A minus 1. Cot A equal to 1 by root of secant square A minus 1. So just replacing secant with 1 by cos, I can also get 1 by root of 1 minus cos square A minus 1. That will be cot A equal to cos A by root of 1 minus cos square A. So by this we already got for sine, secant and cos are done. So finally the for tan, cot A equal to 1 by tan A. For cosecant we already defined here, that is cot A equal to root of cosecant square A minus 1. So all last 5 can be defined as cot A equal to root of 1 minus sin square A by sin A, cos A by root of 1 minus cos square A, 1 by tan E, root of cosecant square A minus 1, and 1 by secant square A minus 1. So as I mentioned, for sine, cos, secant, cosec, the same relation will be applied for tan and cot as well. So here you can see for cot A, 1 minus sin square A by sin E. Same way for here, root of 1 minus cos square A by cos A. Cot in terms of cos A by root of 1 minus cos square A, sin A by root of 1 minus sin square A. 1 by tan A, 1 by cot A. Cosecant square A minus 1, secant square A minus 1. 1 by secant square A minus 1, 1 by cosecant square A minus 1. So you can find that sine and cos are related, secant and cosecant are related, and tan and cot are also related. Just they are opposite, like secant will replace with cosecant, tan with cot, and sine with cos. Clear? So this I have performed this video because I have found that few are having issues with respect to the conversions. So I hope this will be helpful for them. If you like the video, please like, and do comment if you want any such videos. And also you can join my Telegram link, which I have mentioned in the description. So there you can post any questions I can solve, and or else if it is required, I will also create a video so that others can also be benefit from it. Thank you.